Hello and welcome to another GM Tips. GM Rick here. I'm getting one of the books. Sorry for the topic today because I think I'm going to be using this one out of Pathfinder. But you can use, again, this can be usable across the board depending on what is available on the topic. They'll design one specifically in certain systems for this. So we're going to talk about NPCs and gaining boons, banes, and patronage from each. And is there an importance to this? And again, various GMs have different views on this. Some of them use it religiously. Others think, yeah, it's a pain in the rear end to really work with. But in my mind and what I've seen, NPCs can be invaluable to a party in many multiple ways. One way is just an informant or a great contact or an ally, but there's other things that they can present and give depending on how the party wins them over or if they annoy them. And so they call these things and term them in at least in Pathfinder and an open legend RPG and in D&D as boons and banes. Boons and banes are different things that you can get from them. A boon being a good thing and a bane being a bad thing. And I'm going to share an example here. So the one thing they do in here is they give you some really good things when it comes to dealing with different things. And let's see if they've got one in here. Actually, they may not in this one. I may have to pick a different one. But secret societies, let's see, boons, banes, tasks, awards. They have awards in this one for the society. So awards can be in secret societies as well. So let's pick an NPC. So say you've got a NPC lordling of the land, a feudal lord of a land. And you have to, they start out as indifferent towards your party. And there's different things and stages. And Pathfinder does a great job, as I think does Dungeons and Dragons, of having the influence of diplomacy and how it affects things. So they can start out as totally unfriendly or hostile to very friendly with you. And where I give the boons out is when they get to the really friendly. So you get from a either indifferent condition to very friendly or hostile to friendly. That's when you get the boon. The bane comes in the opposite direction. When you take them from, indifferent to hostile, or you take them from friendly to hostile by your actions and how you handle your diplomacy and your bluffs with them. So what would be a boon? So let's take a look at a boon. Let's say you get one of the boons the Lordling can give you is a 10% discount at all the different shops in their realm because you are considered a friend of the Lord of the land. The reverse is that you don't get to shop in the realm, or maybe you shop at a much higher rate, 25% more than what you would have paid, no matter, despite what diplomacy you use with the shopkeepers, because they don't want to fall out of favor with their lord or lordess, so you just kind of say, eh. So those are some boons and banes. Now, you can design your own. They have different ones that are designed in the game. And here's what I say on boons and banes. You don't want to make them too powerful. The purpose of them is not to make a party all powerful. The purpose is to give them certain perks and things that they can do that they normally wouldn't get so easily. It gives them advantages in a situation. So like D&D uses the term, you get an advantage here or a disadvantage. Kind of like that. You're gaining advantages and disadvantages. Maybe you gain a reroll. Maybe you gain a bonus to your roll. There's different things that boons and banes can give you. And gods and goddesses can give boons and banes. So here's the different organizations that can give boons and banes. It could be a society, a political society. So a boon or bane can come as awards or hindrances in a society. So say you join the Spacers Guild, or you join the Smugglers Guild, or you join the a Thieves Guild, or you join a Wizard Coven, or a Wizard University, become a professor at the university, or a minor professor or teacher there. All those, once you have paid your dues and once you have worked through their tests, generally then you improve your fame there. And they use the term fame. So keep in mind, fame is a very important thing, or infamy And I use those in the games of Pathfinder a lot. And you gain fame points or infamy points. Well, along with them come prestige points. So you have two types of things: fame and infamy. You can't spend. It is just a score that goes up and down depending on how well or how badly you do in an area. Prestige points are the actual, how should I say, currency that can be spent. So say you got a fame of 30 or an infamy of 30, and you want to spend your prestige points then that are the same. And prestige points, they go up one for one. So you get an infamy point or a fame point, you get a prestige point. And so each time you go, depending now, if it's a bad society, infamy will give you prestige. If it's a good society and you get infamy, your points go down in your prestige. Makes sense. Kind of ups and downs, positives and negatives. So those prestige points can add up to where you buy things, and this is where this comes in handy. So, like for instance, I'll give you a society in here. So the Way of the Kirin, it's an Asian society. Here's your awards. You can get Sky Steed. So this is a thing. For 10 fame, so if you have a 10 fame at least in that organization, and you spend 2 of your prestige points, you gain a Sky Steed. An impetuous young Kirin agrees to act as your steed for a limited time. The creature temporarily replaces your mount and stays with you for one short adventure or a week, whichever is shorter. You can call upon the service of such a mount only once per service period. So they get a special mount. What a cool kind of thing, right? Especially if you got to get somewhere that a regular steed wouldn't help you. You can spend these with your societies as you choose. Okay, but they give you little perks. So let's give you another one out of here, and you can come up with these as the GMs. That's the cool part, and it doesn't matter the setting. Pick any RPG system, and you can do these type of things. That's the cool part. Paizo has done it, and they've done a great job on it, and I give them a ton of credit. But there are other groups that have done it too, and I think it's a really great thing that you can do that. So here we go. So let's pick the Night Heralds. So the Night Heralds are a loosely affiliated with a cult of lunatics and maniacs dedicated to preparing this world for the harvest by the dominion of the black. So nasty individuals, basically Cthulhu-esque. So what's their award? Well, insane. 20 fame, 4 prestige points. You finally succumb to become a sane. Your madness does not cripple you as it would a mind less accepting of the condition. Reduce your wisdom score by 6. This is a permanent reduction and can only be restored by greater restoration or more powerful magic. You now can use your charisma modifier on will saves instead of your wisdom. So, charisma is really great. Your wisdom's so. You take the insanity, and it boop, that now moves into your will saves where you weren't going to do a great job at saving anyways, and your charisma becomes your saving thing. Well, now you're much better. Charisma's 18. Your wisdom was 13. Now your wisdom's a 7. Not great, but that's okay. It doesn't affect your saving throws. Now you get your charisma, which is +4. Big difference than a +1, isn't it? But you take some negatives some other places. But there's things like that go on that will allow you and help you. So come up with some societies and give them those type of award perks. If you want offline, if you need to have some ideas on how to design these, I'm more than happy to talk. And maybe that's what we're going to do one on is secret societies and guilds. And that's going to be a good topic I'm going to put on here. Secret societies and guilds. How to. So that way you guys got the how to on them. But just keep in mind that's one thing you guys can do that will really help with rewarding boons and bane type of things. So now you got your lordlings and things like that. You can have monsters or deities that do that too. There's a whole thing that is done now. For instance, if you're in a modern one and you don't want to use deities, fine. Maybe you use some old deities or some other ones that are forgotten that you come across. So maybe it's a Egyptian cult or a African gods cult. And these gods and goddesses do grant the worshippers some boons and banes. You can come up with, but again, what are they looking for? Devout worship. So what they normally do in the books here in Pathfinder, if you perform your worship every day, you get certain benefits. One of my NPCs uses it. He worships Nig, the elder Fae creature, and Nig, when he's doing his things, gives him certain bonuses, and he has used that every session. He's gotten real smart and savvy on what Nig does for him. Smart man. Anytime you worship, and I've got others that don't do that, and they should. Every day they tell me, hey, I'm going through my worship ritual. It gets them bonuses, and they need to add those, but they need to let the GM know about them. They don't perform the ritual properly, so say they're going through it and something disruptive happens, they don't get the benefit, and they lose it for that day, or they can get a detrimental effect. So keep that in mind. Now, certain things during the day, if you perform certain services, especially if you're more devout, so say you're an evangelist for that god, or oh God, the ecclesiastical, or a defender type, you get different types of abilities depending on what you do for that deity that will strengthen you. So you get divinely infused with benefits. Keep that in mind. That's another thing you can use and utilize boons and banes. Maybe a reward for completing a quest for somebody gives you boons and banes versus a monetary reward. So if you don't complete it, you get a bane. If you do complete it successfully, maybe you get one boon, maybe you get two boons that the party gets as a whole, and they can utilize it at any time. Boons are great because they're not always money, but they can be used like money or credit to help you. So maybe normally you go to a shopkeeper, you find him some rare, or you find her some rare metal, and she takes that rare metal, and because of how much you found, you get a special boon. And that boon is she will enchant one item to a +1, or put some sort of minor power into it for you for free, because you have found this rare mithril, or rare adamantine, or rare iron tree, ironwood. Now all of a sudden, you've got something that would have cost you 4,000 or 5,000 gold or more, and it's a boon that they give you. You still have to pay for the cost of the weapon, but the empowering of it, you don't. Or maybe you still have to pay her for her time and for some other fees. So now a 10,000 gold piece item becomes a 3,000 gold piece item for you to buy. It's up to you as a GM. I mean, I would save that for something significant that you do for them. But keep that in mind. You can use these things. Now, if you're using mythic stuff, I love the mythic stuff. So say for a deity, you do something for them, and you're using mythic stuff like out of what Pathfinder has. So you're creating mythical players. You can give them a mythical tier as a boon award, or a half tier, or something along those lines, to getting them to their next tier of mythical, which gives them more powers and more abilities. So there are things that you can award with boons and banes that can be quite fun. And I really truly believe that there aren't a lot of GMs that use that. And speak up if you do, but I think most of you don't. And that's a shame, because those type of things can be a lot of fun. It can really change the gameplay. It can change the whole dynamic of how the players engage in a situation. Now, where you may not have caught their attention on something, you have their complete and utter attention, because you have done something that is powerful. So again, this video is going to be a little shorter this week on boons and banes, but I really believe you want to take the time to design these things. So where do you get boons and banes? Completing quests or completing side adventures for someone. You get it from that person that contracted you for it. From notable NPCs. You can get it from societies. You can get it from worship centers. You could even get it from governments, or from causes. So say in your sci-fi ones, you've got the Iron Legion. So in the Iron Legion, when you join that as a group, or as in this case, not necessarily a society, maybe it's a cause or a legion group. You can do that there as well. So keep that in mind. This is a way of rewarding players that is not always monetary, but can give them some really cool things that will help them to accomplish a quest, and it justifies it. All right, folks, that's it for today. I really appreciate it. It's good to get back and do some GM tips. I hope you really like the Boons and Banes. If you got more questions on it, I can expand on it because I could spend easily hours on this, and I don't want to. I just want to kind of give you an outline frame. If you would like a list of some suggestions, let me know the system you're running, and I will try to come up with things that align with that with you, and we can brainstorm. Look me up at Rick with a capital R. It's RIC. Capital M, capital T, little h, little e, capital GM on Twitter, and I can do that there. If not, then look up, send me an email to ricmoh45@gmail.com. I'm more than happy to respond to you on my Gmail account. I use that a lot more and more to help people, so please feel free to hit me up there. I'm glad to help out. So again, Rick without a K, RICMOH45@gmail.com, and I'm more than happy to help you out. Thanks again, and have a great week.